the point of this is basically to help women find out what men actually want. So the reason
already know.
If they knew, we'd have a lot fewer single people out there.
That's true.
So it's totally not personal. It's very much like, general ideas. Obviously, you know yourself, you know your friends. I've just seen when I talk to men that everybody seems to answer similar things. Maybe not exactly the same, but similar. There's certain qualities that men look for. There's certain things that make them cross a room. There's certain things that make them marry a woman. And, there are some women who seem to be irresistible, let's say. Men love them. And they're not necessarily the best-looking women. They're just something about their energy. Sometimes they're the best-looking women, but not always. Because I'm sure there's some beautiful women, and, they're beautiful to look at, but once you get closer, you're like, oh, okay, well, not for me. Many of them, right. So I just want to get a feeling from you. I guess the first thing I want to know is what would drive you to notice a woman, to be interested in a woman?
Well, first of all, I look at their body.
Okay.
If I find their body attractive,
The
then
only thing I ask is just to speak up, because I don't know how well
I won't be able to speak up. But first, I look at their body, and then
So body over face?
Always, yeah.
Really?
Always.
Okay. How come? More body than eyes?
Everybody has a certain, what they like,
Yeah.
figure-wise.
So you're more of a body. So what's your ideal figure?
Thin, small breast. So
really
athletic,
slim,
athletic.
almost like when you say slim, small breast. Is that like almost a boyish figure?
No. Athletic, curves.
So an athletic
yeah. Not too athletic. Just not too. I mean, I like curves. And I like a bit of something to look at. But
so when
generally, what would catch my eye would be thin. That would be the first thing to call
thin, because this is like this whole thing about thin. When you say thin, you're not meaning like skeletal, like really skinny woman. No. You're meaning like slim,
slim, yeah.
Almost like a Cindy Crawford kind of figure.
Possibly, yeah.
Or is that
slim with curves? But I mean, the curves. That's what would catch my. I can't remember what Cindy Crawford looks like now.
So Cindy Crawford was more muscular.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. She looked like she worked out.
I don't know, but
whereas Claudia Schiffer was more like.
No, Claudia Schiffer was a bit too thin for me.
Too thin for you.
So, but you asked me what attracts. So that would catch my eye.
Okay, so Claudia Schiffer's too thin. That's a good thing to know.
And then the second thing would be character and chatting.
Okay.
So you'd first of all chat and character, but the face would probably come sort of very low down in the order, so that everybody takes a lot of attention on the face. But I think it's first for me, the catch my eye is a figure, and then the second thing would be character, and how they chatted, how they behaved.
So the thing about the figure that's very positive for women is because a lot of the women who are going to be listening to this are actually not like 20s, and there's like with your figure you can actually keep your figure looking good. I mean, I know women who are 50s and they have amazing figures, like better figures than some women I know in their 20s. But obviously, like, you can keep your figure looking good by exercise. It's much harder to keep your face.
As a man, you always notice a woman who's proud of her figure. So, and it doesn't mean the figure has to be incredible. I'm just saying that if they wear tight clothes, if they show off certain parts of it, if there's a sexy looking one, which automatically attracts a man's eye, or my eye anyway.
Is there such a thing as showing off too much?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that? Like, what's the difference
showing off
between too much and just right?
Could be. We have a phrase. Some men have a phrase called brassy, which is a bit sort of a pub. Someone who works behind a bar, which isn't. I don't find attractive. Some people might do, but I mean, we're talking about my opinions. Someone who just perhaps accentuates their curves. Tight fitting clothes.
Tight fitting, but not like showing everything.
Shows their figure. That's very attractive. Shoes are very attractive.
What kind of shoes?
Well, just shoes that go with, like a style. There's a certain
Is there
style.
like heels versus flats, or can flats?
No, that's a woman thing, and I totally get that but men, I think, don't necessarily look.
So men
too
don't
much.
mind if it's flats.
Not too much. No.
Okay.
No, it's just how everything fits together. So I love arts and I love beauty. So for me, it's like everything fits together beautifully. So
if she's well accessorized, she looks after the fact that her clothes sort of go together nicely.
Yeah.
It's nice, stylish.
Yeah, so stylish.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
style is
very
important.
important. Yeah.
So then, what do you think about these
figure
women?
and style?
Yeah, what do you think about these women who are like, they do the commute and they kind of, because this is my pet peeve, they do the commute and they take the heels that match their suit off, and instead of putting on cute flats, they put on sneakers. Would that like turn you off?
Well, it wouldn't turn me off, but it's not.
Okay.
It's more of a functional thing. So you look at it and you think it's a bit like sort of putting on wellies to go walking in the rain, So that's fine, and I respect that.
Okay.
Wouldn't turn me off. No.
Okay. Are there any like specific turn-offs that you can think of with either figure, style, which is when you immediately
Loud voice.
Loud voice.
Yeah, I find that really awful.
Okay, so if she's like kind of talking in a group and she's like the loudest one, you're not.
Loud voice is very unattractive.
Anything else? Keep my voice low.
No. What else would turn me off?
This is like before you get to know
I think some like slightly rude.
Okay.
So some women can sort of think that it's okay to be slightly rude to men.
Okay.
And I find that very unattractive.
Okay.
Very sort of like dismissive, like it's a sort of
is that rude to a waiter, or is that rude to like you?
Rude to be generally a bit arrogant.
Oh, okay.
And the arrogance turns me right off. So I would never pursue friendship or love or anything with anybody who was even slightly arrogant. It wouldn't work for me.
That's amazing. I want to repeat that. Arrogance and rudeness turns off.
Wouldn't work for me at all. I mean, it might work for other people, but it doesn't work for me at all.
I can't imagine. I've actually had a lot of men say, and I wonder if you agree with this, that women always want to be a tease, and one of the things men like a tease, but what a tease is, it's not, or men like a woman who can tease, but that's not a woman who makes fun of you or puts you down. It's a woman who teases in a feminine, attractive way.
Oh no, well for me personally, because we're talking about me, I much prefer simple things.
Okay.
So it's very, I prefer a woman who's mature, slightly mature in their thoughts, confident inside.
Okay.
Perhaps understands that the relationship, if it's a sort of consensual thing, it will go somewhere, and if it isn't consensual, it won't. And then if it doesn't, then it's thank you very much, great knowing you, bye. Okay. Either as a friend or as a lover.
And do you what do you think of the whole staying friends after you're done being with one?
Well, it's absolutely
is that
right.
Possible, do you think?
No, it's absolutely right, but it's not always possible. Mm-hmm. No, it's quite rarely possible actually, but it's absolutely right. Well, generally, I mean, for instance, I had a great relationship for 6 months with a lady who was actually quite almost my age, perhaps 8 years younger.
Okay.
And she was very wealthy and very lovely, but the sex wasn't great because we were always partying the whole time. So, but I decided at a certain stage that I couldn't carry on partying as hard as she partied because it would affect my health. So I pulled out of the relationship, and she got angry. Okay. And so we still talk.
Did she know why you pulled out?
Well, yeah, I think it was pretty obvious, but I don't think she understood because.
Okay, because that's the next series of questions I'll ask you. Yeah. Since you went there.
Yeah. So, but she got angry. And, but I try to keep in touch with. I mean, if I've had, a very close relationship with people, then I try to keep in touch with them.
So you try to keep in touch?
Yeah, I do. I more than most people do because it's sort of people when you like someone and you care for someone, even if it's for even if it's a week or a month or whatever, you never forget that feeling.
Right, you don't stop caring for them.
And for instance, like I had another girl that I was seeing for a while who was a vegan. So the other day we were doing vegan foods in the business, and I thought of her, so I took pictures and I sent them to her, and said this, and then she replied back, "That's lovely, that looks delicious." Okay.
Is there ever any going back? Like, has that ever happened? Where you stop, but because you keep
there's a difference between having a relationship and having a sexual relationship. Okay. So there's a couple that have sort of been sexual relationships that have turned into relationships, and then perhaps I was a bit dismissive in terms that perhaps they wanted more than I could give. Okay. In terms of time, so perhaps I'd see them 3 or 4 times a week. Perhaps they wanted 5 or 6 times a week.
It's a lot of times a week.
It's a lot of times a week. Yeah.
How does anyone have time for that?
Exactly. So it had to stop.
Right.
And but there are times when I will text her and say, "Look, let's meet and have have sex."
Got it.
And which can sometimes work and sometimes doesn't. Right. So
I think probably at some point somebody wants more and somebody gets sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, not sick of it. I think they just feel that possibly they're being used, which is probably what is happening.
So since you mentioned that, so where I want to go next is can you ever start off as a sexual relationship and become a relationship, and what would make a woman, what would make you consider a woman that way?
Well, a sexual relationship can destroy friendship.
Okay, that's if
So
you're
I'm
friends
very
with benefits
conscious
kind
now
of
in my
thing.
life that I don't have sex with people that I'm friends with.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, but it took me years to work that one out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took me a
Congratulations.
long time to work that one out.
Well done, you.
Yeah. So, what was the other question?
Can you turn from can you start someone off? Because a lot of women, wonder about this. Can you start off having just sexual relationship? Can that turn into a serious relationship?
Yeah,
I mean, we've all heard of that
yeah.
happening at
Of course
times.
it can,
But
yeah.
is that like a one-off, or is that
Of course it can. I mean, I think men might disrespect someone who hopped into bed on the first night. Yeah, that might be difficult. So it might be better to sort of wait a couple of nights, or have a principle.
couple of nights? That's quick.
No, I'm just saying. There's a boundary. You've got to put in a boundary.
So is there a too quick and is there a too long to wait?
Too long to wait, definitely. Yeah.
What's the too long
as a
to
man, I won't wait longer than probably 3 dates.
Really?
If I have
3
sexual
dates?
intentions, 3 dates.
Seriously?
If I have sexual intentions. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So really, 3 dates?
Yeah.
That's really fast.
Yeah. Well, it's not that fast actually.
3 dates?
Yeah.
You don't even know a person then?
No, but it depends. You asked about a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
You didn't ask about a relationship.
Right.
So a relationship might be something completely different.
Okay. But let's say you want a relationship.
Relationship, okay.
Could you wait longer than 3 days?
Yeah, because I might know someone. For instance, I'm at this age of my life now where I'm not necessarily thinking that I want to live with someone who I'm necessarily having a passionate relationship with. If I lived with someone, it might be better that we didn't have a passionate relationship, but we looked after each other in a very loving and caring way, and we entertained together.
Why would you think it's not possible to have both?
Because passionate relationships burn themselves out. It's just the nature of them. That's why there are so many single people in the world at the moment.
Oh, I'd like to think there are other reasons why they're single.
No, that is
because they don't understand what other people want. That's why.
No, I'd say passion is a very difficult thing to.
Okay, but when you say passion, you're thinking like you don't think that you can have amazing sex life with somebody that also
not permanently. No, it doesn't last permanently. It's passionate. No.
I don't know. I like to
A
disagree
friend of mine
with you.
once said to me, a friend of mine who has a very good relationship, and the good relationships that I know of, tend to not be the passionate ones. Tend to be where it's sort of
stable
on a level, yeah.
But do they also have a good sex life?
I doubt it. No, I don't. I would imagine sex is not top of their list.
So basically, they're friends without the sex.
Yeah. At our age, I'm talking about our age. When you're younger, it's a whole different game.
Can I ask what your age is? If you want to tell them, 53. Okay. So
but if I say that there was something I was going to say.
sorry.
So no, it was something I was going to say about the. I can't remember now. I'll remember in a minute.
Your friend,
Oh no, a friend of mine. Yes, that's right, a French friend of mine who said, and one of my problems is I have had passionate relationships, jumped into a relationship, and then within 6 months been married or had a child.
You have.
That's my history of the 2 big relationships of my life.
Okay, your 2 marriages.
One wasn't a marriage and one was a marriage. But the mother of my children I never married.
Yeah.
But I was with her for 14 years.
And it started off passionate.
Passionate, yeah. And a friend of mine, a French friend of mine, said, Matthew, he said, you've really got to calm this down because what you need is not passion, you need serenity.
Right.
And he's absolutely right. And that's what he has with his wife.
But can I ask you then, does he look elsewhere for the passion? So does he have a wife and then somebody else?
I don't know, to be honest with you, and I haven't actually approached that with him. But he's
would that be
right.
for somebody who's interested in passion? Wouldn't you feel if you had just serenity and no intensity at home, wouldn't you feel bored?
Well, I to be honest with you, you see it very much. Like I sit here at the RSC and you see a lot of couples who've been married for donkey's years.
Yeah.
And you know that the man might have had in France. They might have had mistresses. In France, they call it 5 à 7, 5 to 7, where you have your mistress. It's very, very popular.
Yeah, I know it is.
And you have the woman who's at home in the country and has a big country house, and the kids go to school.
Yeah.
And it's a marriage made in heaven for these two. It works perfectly. They're very happy.
Well, except she pretends she doesn't know. Let's say.
Well, why would she worry? I mean, it's a relationship that works. They have love. They have history. They have family ties. It's worked for many years. I see it all the time at breakfast here, all the time. Like I'd say, probably the majority.
The mistresses.
Not mistresses. No, the wives, the husband and wives. They wouldn't bring their mistresses here.
Right.
But
I don't know. It's a new
It's
idea.
not something. See, the way it's fascinating the difference in perspective, and especially in the UK and America has this thing where I mean it's almost like people have to be children again in relationships. I think that's a big mistake. Personally, I think if one's going to have a relationship that's going to last, even a friendship, the child side of it is great fun, but you have to have things like you have to love going to museums together. You have to love being. I mean, if you can't go on holiday with your wife or your partner, the relationship will never work.
Oh, that's of course.
And if the holiday isn't great when you go on holiday, when you relax and you love it, and you have similar interests, to me that is far more important than having sex with a partner.
No, I agree. So that brings me to a point then. Let's say a man of your age, you said it before, and you're very youthful for your age, just to say, you take care of yourself. I work with women who are, most of them, over 40. So we have a lot of these single women over 40, and then we have a lot of men in their 50s looking at very young women. So that's, I guess, where you guys get the passion or the excitement, whatever it is. So what can those women who are older, who seems like that's the right woman to give you the serenity, etc., what can they do to get...
just love, laughter, take care.
What would you be, when you're trying to think about a future with somebody, is it correct that you would think more likely with somebody who's closer to your age? Or
I certainly wouldn't think of having a relationship with someone under the age of 38, I think.
This is a relationship that's
like a long-term relationship. I mean, I would think of a short-term relationship with someone that age, under that age, definitely, because I'm single. But if I was looking for a relationship to be with someone, 38 and over would be the perfect age.
What's the oldest you'll go?
Well, they also be my age or even older.
Okay. And so what are you looking for in that kind of woman? What should
what
should she act like? What should she be like?
Who's very relaxed.
What should she look like?
What she look like? It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you.
So you have to be attracted to her.
Thin, obviously. Friendly face. Just kind, understanding. Sophisticated is very important for me.
What does that mean?
Sophisticated means likes food, likes art, likes can talk about things, doesn't feel, feels confident. Yeah, culture. Culture feels confident.
Right.
Someone who, I love wine, so but allows me to be myself, and I would of course allow them to be themselves. There's this theory that men have to change women, or women have to change themselves to be with a man. I think that's probably the biggest mistake.
Completely, I agree with you. 100%.
They cannot do that. That'll never work.
Completely.
That'll just end up being a disaster.
Totally, exactly what I teach women. So thank you for saying that.
You have to be compatible in your interests. And you have to be compatible. Family is very important. For instance, if my kids didn't get on with her or her kids, if she had children, that would be difficult. So you have to manage that very carefully. I've trained my kids now to just sort of accept anybody I'm with, which works.
That's good training.
It took me a long time to get.
They're in their 20s, is that right? Yeah. So that's about time.
It took me 6-7 years.
They've grown up. They have their own girlfriends.
Fighting and arguing and shouting, but if I was with someone and it was difficult, then that would be difficult. So there's quite a number of parameters. It's not a simple thing. And if I was to jump into a relationship because I had passion and I thought the girl looked great and we were going to have a great sex life, that will never work.
Okay, so you're saying that anyone you're passionate about can never be your long-term relationship. I find that
I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that.
Someone who likes passion personally.
No, I didn't say that at all. Okay. No, I didn't say that at all. No, I just said in the list of priorities.
Right, so if you jump into bed with her, she's not a long-term relationship.
No, not at all. No, it could be, but no, you're completely. See, again, this is the child in you coming out. You're trying to find the answer.
Okay.
You're trying to find a quick answer to a solution that I'm trying to say is very complicated because you have family, you have a lot of different parameters.
Right.
Of course, passion is one of them.
Yeah.
You're putting the emphasis on passion.
Okay.
I'm saying passion is as important as their family, as their culture, in terms of their culture.
You're saying that passion might be okay, but it's not the be it and end all, basically.
Well, the end all,
you need more than
like
that.
if you didn't get on with their kids and they didn't get on with your kids, there would be no relationship.
Okay. But you're not saying that necessarily, for it to be a good relationship, passion cannot exist. You're saying it could exist, but only as one element.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not the element in a relationship. And that's what I'm trying to say to you, is that it's not the decider.
Right. Oh, okay, I see. So that's different than saying, if I have good passion, it will never work.
No. If you have good passion, you have everything else. My God, you're the luckiest person on earth. But there are quite a few parameters that actually, it's a bit like winning the lottery. You've got to fill 5 numbers.
It is completely like winning the lottery.
Yeah, it's like you got 5 numbers there. You might get 3 right, but you're not going to get 5 unless you're extremely lucky.
But you know what I tell women? You only need 1. So you can have 5,000 failures, you only need one success, and that's your man. Yeah.
But I don't think people should shy away from having relationships at all. Or, I think it's an important part. And also, to be honest with you, we're talking about passion, we're talking about sex.
Yeah.
Sex is to me, I think it's a very integral part of my life. Almost like eating and relaxing and whatever. It's something that I have to have to keep me, healthy and
and for women,
I think same. Yeah.
The statistic is that if you're more sexually active, your menopause comes later.
Oh, right,
so if you give up on your sex life very early, then you'll have early menopause. That's written.
But I think it's a much more complicated thing. And I remember my father telling me very, very funnily. And my father married a Californian, and he was an English person from London. And they married in Damascus in Syria in 1953, 54. And they'd never met each other's families. And I remember him saying, Matthew, he says, one thing you've got to understand is that choosing a wife is a bit like betting on the horses. He said, the odds are stacked against you.
Right.
And I guess it's the opposite way around.
How did that work out?
It's the opposite way around as well. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
What I try to tell my children is to just find someone who you don't ever feel uncomfortable with.
Okay. So it's someone you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. Idea that seems to have recently come up in the last 30 years that men and women have to compete on the same territory.
Oh, I hate that idea. I completely hate that.
Where did that come from? It's like saying cats and dogs have got to compete, in the same. They don't. They're just different. We're different animals, and that's the beauty. That's why it's so attractive.
Yeah, completely.
So I think, and I think that. What I'm certainly not a metrosexual man, who's trying to be more feminine. Far from it. I know who I am. I know, I'm a man, and I enjoy being a man, and I behave like a man or a gentleman. And I would expect a woman that I was seeing, and if they behave differently, then I don't find it comfortable.
Okay, so if she behaves too masculine, if she's too aggressive.
I don't find it at all comfortable.
Okay, now
not in the slightest.
And that's really great to hear because it's exactly what I teach women. I used to do a workshop. My series was Find Your Femininity. So I love that you're saying this.
So again, we were talking about Cuba earlier. So in Cuba, you will never see a woman dressed in baggy clothes. They will always. They love their bodies. Whatever figure they have, it will always be shown off. They have no problem with anorexia, with overweight, or with anything because they all love their bodies too much.
Right, and even the slim ones, even
Everybody,
bigger ones.
Big, fat, big bum, small ones, old ones,
Amazing.
60 years old, tight clothes because they love their figures.
Okay.
And that's a very feminine thing.
So wearing clothing that shows off your figure is great as long as you're not hanging out.
Not hanging out.
Right.
No, you're right, yeah.
Okay, well that's great to know. You have 2 sons, right?
Yeah.
Would your sons who are in their 20s, do you think they would agree with you as far as these attributes? And
no, I don't think they would agree.
Okay.
No, I think the youngest son sort of looks at the face and the blonde hair.
Right.
Possibly the boobs. And the oldest son looks at probably how well off the parents are and
this is very practical.
I'm being a bit mean here, but if I was to put down the essence, that's probably where he looks.
But what about personality? Do you think that would be the same? The personality you said basically loving. You said kind. You said be a woman. I forgot.
But
what
you can't lose with that personality, can you?
Why
would anyone not find that attractive?
Does he want a woman who's a woman as well?
Of course.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is that timeless? That women should be women, and we've really. There's a lot of women that have lost that, and
but Julia, I'll tell you right now is that when girls are younger, they're much more feminine than as they get older. Because when they get into the working environment and they become lawyers or stockbrokers or property developers or whatever they do in their job, they become more masculinized, and you see it so bad.
And there's a reason for that. It's because it's good for the company. Is that you're neutral? You're not. You have no sex.
But they don't do it in Spain or France. France is completely different. They're still feminine. They still behave in that way.
And
they still work.
Russian women are very feminine.
Yeah, Russian women look good, but they lack. They have a hard edge to them.
There is a hard edge. There's a coldness.
Not my favorite.
Okay. I won't hold that against you.
No, I'm teasing.
No, it's okay. So I'm just as far as so basically there's qualities. There must be a lot of women that suit these qualities. So what would set one woman apart from other women?
Well, there aren't many women that fit these qualities.
Really? There are not many women that are loving, kind?
Well, they're probably married if there are. I mean, I meet lots. I have a lot of married friends.
Well, there must be some divorced ones. I mean, I know quite a few divorced women that would say, at least when they write about themselves, that they're loving, kind, helpful. What were the other?
But I want to see, I wonder whether loving, kind, helpful means. See, some people see their life in a very small, mirrored, very, very small box.
Yeah.
I have an incredibly wide view of life.
Okay.
So if you can be loving, kind, and generous in that incredibly wide view of life to people who serve you drinks at the table, to people in the street, to that is my idea of loving, kind. It's not just with your friends and with your family.
So you're watching her while she's doing all those things. How she's with a waitress? Is she gracious?
I don't watch. You just
you're
your instinct. Your
intelligent man, so
your
you
instinct just picks it up. It's not. I'm watching. I used to date a girl who I actually loved very much for a period of time, and I used to write her an email every morning, a breakfast email.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, it was like a little letter. Yeah, that was nice. So she'd wake up and she'd get this email, this little breakfast email about
That's really
my
sweet.
thoughts.
You have a romantic side. Who knew?
I do, yeah.
So what would bring that romantic side out of a man?
I don't know whether we've all got it. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just how you feel, It's what you want to do. You just get into that mode where you want to do something. And then if someone appreciates it, of course you want to do it more. So, if women appreciate things that we've done for them, then men will do it more, and the same as women will do it more for men.
Okay,
it's human,
that's a really great thing there about the appreciation. Because I teach clients to show appreciation. Things you really like.
A thank you, or God, I love that thing, or so say you bought someone a present, say a blouse or something, and they sent you a picture of them wearing it, sort of.
Or they wore on the next date or something.
Yeah, or they wore it on the next date, or so just small things, just thank you, handwritten letters now are very few and far between.
They're for sure.
They're beautiful. Presents are lovely, I got a present the other day, a really beautiful scent from a place in Burlington Arcade, which is really thoughtful. In fact, I'm wearing it now.
You can't really smell it. That's quite nice.
It's
very
nice. I can't even remember who did it. It's like a handmade one. I can't remember who did it, but it's beautiful.
Nice present.
So I think that's about it.
Okay, so I'm still not completely sure on how a woman sets herself apart, because that's really what I want to know.
Well, it's funny you're asking this, because I thought I'd made it really clear, but obviously I haven't.
No.
And perhaps you're looking for something that's like the ultimate answer for women.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I want to know.
I think just kindness, looking into someone's eyes when you talk to them, instinct, smells, very important, like really important. Like really, really important.
Okay, and the other thing you mentioned is compatibility, and the fact that you have, you have things in common.
I wouldn't like to date a woman who perhaps, was sort of with, say she was Indian, and every weekend was with her family, eating Indian food, which, I love Indian food, and I find Indian women incredibly attractive. But it's not perhaps something I'd like to be doing at the weekends.
Right. Okay.
But yet for them, it's a really big part of their lives.
Okay.
So there's got to be compatibility.
So you want that they like to do the same things as you?
Compatibility is very important. So there's no point in pursuing someone if you know that ultimately it's not going to be compatible, and it's ridiculous, really. It's just going to lead to heartache.
I think you did mention good conversation. Someone that you can kind of
important.
talk
Not
about.
Too much.
Not too much. Explain that for me.
Not too much. Well, too much can be trying to please everybody at the table. So directed conversation is good, but too much can be like sort of machine gun conversation. So, for instance, if you're talking with someone, it's nice to talk to one person rather than talking to everybody the whole time.
Okay. So you're not looking for the party girl who's kind of center of attention. Yeah, you said no loud voices as well, so you kind of want the more she kind of stays there, but she's going to be that loving. So I kind of get the idea of
you got a
energy.
picture in your head now.
Yeah,
that's just me. I mean, I'm different, We all have different things, and that's the beauty about life. Is otherwise we'd all want the same thing.